in Missouri, where we come from, the main question is, where'd you get your first DWI? Yeah. The app actually takes the guesswork out of searching for a lawyer, let's just say.
What's great about our app is that they get that accessibility right away. They can text them, they can call them, they can email them, but then we also have the attorney profile that they can click on.
No one said no to us. All these attorneys walking by our booth last week were interested. What is it? How can it help me? This is so weird to me. It's are you a website? Are you an SEO? Well, no, we're not.
That's the whole aspect of what we're doing here is we're creating relationships.
All right. What is up, gentlemen? Welcome to Zen Business Podcast. I'm very glad to have Lenny and Chris Heeb here today from Legal Buddy, co-founders at the new app that is launching and in market. And we're very excited about that. So welcome to the show. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about why you guys created this company? What is Legal Buddy and why did you create it?
That's a great question. So one thing that before I get into that answer, actually, we've kind of discussed the fact that Legal Buddy is an app where it's kind of centered around it's better to have and not need than need and not have. And it's a free app. So people research, they download for free, and they have the advice, or at least the basic principles of what to do and what not to do. So to answer your question about legal advice, we don't give legal advice on the app. We give general bullet points, general information that will help the attorney and the user prepare defense. And sometimes, and a lot of times, the user can do and say things with the police officer that might mitigate the situation and maybe even get them out of trouble where they don't even get charged with a crime. Or they don't worsen their personal injury case when they're at the scene and, God forbid, they say that they're at fault when they shouldn't have said that. So we don't necessarily give legal advice. We connect the user to the attorney in the state and in the city where the issue arises. And that attorney is vetted by us, by the founders, by our Legal Buddy team, to make sure that it's a qualified, good lawyer, not just someone that pays to be on the app and is not a good lawyer.
Yeah, we have stipulations in our agreements with the attorneys that they have to respond within a certain period of time.
Great.
Customer service, brand management, making sure that we deliver on what we're giving to the public. That's important. And the educational aspect too. The craziness that's in this world today. When someone gets pulled over, we're seeing it right now with leads that are coming in from our app. Drivers and individuals need to understand how to interact with authoritative figures, with police officers, and do it in a way that's respectful on both sides. Okay. And I think, with the do's and don'ts, it kind of creates that template where they can take a look at this and say, okay, I know I need to do this. And maybe it might change the direction or, the flavor of the conversation per se.
Yeah, I remember I got pulled over. I was doing 85 and a 65, and I'm a nice guy. And so I was just cordial with the policeman, and he was taken a little bit aback, and then he reduced the to 74 or something. And I was like, that was so easy. Why isn't everybody nice to the cops? And then when I opened your app, I saw that, it was be polite, be professional, don't reach under the seat, these kind of basic rules. But I didn't know those as fact. And so really solidified that for me. Okay, cool. Here's how I approach it. Don't admit fault. I didn't know that you should never admit guilt on the spot. And so those little pointers were super helpful for me. And I'm not, I'm not like a college kid getting into trouble anymore, but still just knowing that really gave me a lot more confidence.
Jonathan, what happens a lot of times is, people think they know what to do. And most people do know what to do in these particular legal situations. But when faced with the stress and pressure of the lights being on, of a police officer's lights behind you, or the severe car accident and you're shaking, you're not sure what to do, people typically freak out. They lose sight of what they should do, and they just don't know what to do.
Yeah, all the brains go out the window.
Absolutely right. And this app literally centrals people and just tells them to relax, be polite, take some photos, maybe record something.
Yeah.
So things like that are what this app is really geared to do, to help people.
Yeah, I noticed that you guys said in the do's and don'ts, record the interaction with the officer if possible. And I thought that was illegal.
It is not illegal in most states. Some states it is illegal, but our do's and don'ts are tailored by the attorneys, by the state laws. So every do's and don'ts section is going to be tailored by the attorney in that state to fit that state's laws.
Yeah, and then it's just incredible to me that I'm like, okay, cool. So I do this, I don't do that, and then boom, I can call right there on the spot. I can look at the do's and don'ts while the cop is back, at his car. I can, right after the interaction, I can just call. It's like such easy access. That's like a lot of confidence. That was one of the things that hiring a lawyer gave me, was I just had confidence in my interactions. I knew when I was in the bounds, when I was out of bounds, and it gave me a lot more poise and presence.
Yeah, and again, it's the educational component and also the efficiency to be able to, 3 clicks. And we talked about this once. How effective is Legal Buddy versus, say, artificial intelligence? And I use ChatGPT all the time, and so I actually posed that question to ChatGPT based upon everything that ChatGPT knew about our business, because I was using it to draft our business plan, our marketing plan, give me ideas. How should we do this? To save time. Okay. And I simply asked it one day. I said, look, give me, a direct answer, even though I pay you, a monthly fee. Are we better or faster than what you do? And it was amazing. The answer came back and it said, yeah, you know what? You're better than us by 27 seconds and you're more specific. And, you're able to get the service better, faster to the client than we could ever do. And I captured that testimonial. I thought, I'm going to use this in marketing.
We need to use that in some ads.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible, because ChatGPT, my experience is it smooths the edges on everything. So it comes out very like broad or very general in my experience. Like if I want really gritty, like nuanced information, I don't really look to GPT. I don't think it's great at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the app actually takes the guesswork out of searching for a lawyer, let's just say. Okay, so if you go on ChatGPT or different websites or look on your internet and you ask for, a DWI lawyer in Los Angeles, ChatGPT will give you 50 DWI lawyers in Los Angeles.
Which one?
Yeah, or which one? That's right. So you want to sit there, the user would need to sit there and research on their own each website, each lawyer. That'll take you A, forever. B, you really don't know which one to trust, which one's good, which one's bad. Legal Buddy gives you one lawyer in that area, exclusive, who specializes or is an expert in that particular field. Takes the guesswork out of all the work, takes the stress out of finding a qualified lawyer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are concerned about what kind of costs am I going to incur, but in a lot of cases, these lawyers work on contingency, right?
Well, in personal injury cases, lawyers work on contingency. They don't collect unless you collect. In criminal cases, some lawyers charge by the hour. Some lawyers charge a flat fee. But that's negotiable between the user and the attorney. That's not Legal Buddy's domain. We just connect the user to the best qualified attorney that's needed by that user.
So who is Legal Buddy from the user's perspective? Who is it really geared at? Is it geared at younger audiences, or what's the vision there?
Yeah, when we looked into the market research, we determined that the demographics are 18 years old up to 45 years of age, the young professionals, the college students, the millennials, okay, the ones that are using phones, okay, to find services. Okay, and we determined that was our best community to really focus in on, and so far I think we've been right on with that.
Yeah, I mean, we were reviewing the data earlier today, and 30% of people who download and activate the app click to contact a lawyer. That's a pretty high ratio.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah,
it's very impressive.
Yeah, so that really tells me that people have been wanting this. They've been needing it. I think especially as younger people, you're less educated, especially when you're in college. You don't really know even how to approach getting a lawyer.
Well, and a lot of times they're scared to death to reach out to their parents, okay, and say, hey, I got in trouble here, and I don't know how to handle this. So again, it's a learning phase, for students, okay, but it also empowers them to have that information at their fingertips. And that's where I think really the greatness of our app is that as we build our customer base and we get more acquisitions, more downloads, and more people use our app, it's going to be something that they use not right now, but maybe 5 or 10 years from now. Yes, we have the legal verticals that, obviously the students and young professionals would use, but we also have 60 more legal verticals that are within the app. So say, for example, you're a college student, you download the app, you utilize the app for something, but then maybe 10 years later you get married and now you need a will.
Now you need a prenup.
You need a prenup or divorce. Okay.
Yeah.
We're hoping that, our brand will carry on and transcend, okay, for them using, okay, Legal Buddy way into the future.
Yeah, it's just always there. You pick it up like whenever that comes up. Like Travis on our team is saying, you want it there when you need it. You want to have it when you want it, not need it when you want it. Well, I'm completely butchering.
You need it's better to have and not need than need and not have.
Precisely.
So why not have a free app that can guide you in all of legal issues, all 64 legal categories or 67 legal categories, then not have it?
Yeah.
And then you're going to run to your parent who you're afraid is going to pull you out of school if you got a fake ID ticket or a DWI in college or assaulted somebody at a drunk bar fight.
Yeah.
No, the app gives you the guidance and the expert to help you in that situation.
Yeah. And, with how technology is constantly, evolving, we're just at the tip of the iceberg with all of the things that we're going to be able to do with this app. Who's to say that, Uber or, DoorDash might come knocking because we have such a huge user base, and they'll think, what? Why wouldn't someone want to advertise on our app?
And why wouldn't Uber want to advertise on our app to avoid having a DWI? Why wouldn't you contact Uber for a ride? There we go. There's your link.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you guys, what is the big picture vision for the product and the company? Like, right now it's a Legal Buddy. You pick it up when you need it, and you can, dial a lawyer. What other features are you envisioning and big picture stuff?
Well, one of the things obviously is AI technology. Okay, so what's interesting about our app, and it was brought to our attention by our IP attorney, that, nothing in the app is actually patentable. But processes are.
Yep.
And so we're in development right now determining if we can acquire a grant from the National Science Foundation to really go in and start looking at processes and how we can integrate that into our app so that the app, when a user comes on board and uses the app, they have an interaction. They're able to communicate better with the app. And therefore, the app is starting to learn who they are, what their behavior is. And then it can, for example, it could all of a sudden recommend a certain attorney within our app because of what they're telling the app. Okay, so there's a lot of things we can do there. There's a lot of connections with other companies that are in the legal tech industry that we can partner with. It's really making it a more user-friendly app for our users as we continue to grow. And we talk about, we want this to be nationwide. We have created over, 200 or actually 167 different
197
regions.
Yeah, regions. Yep.
And so, again, this will just continue to grow and expand, and then we'll get explosive growth eventually. Like we were talking about, it's just a matter of time before Legal Buddy becomes a household name. And that's really our goal.
Yeah, I think the user intent that we've seen and the engagement from the users is very strong. Like, it's much stronger than most apps that we launch, and we look at the initial data. We're like, hey, we got to work on this, we got to work on that. But the users are showing a lot of intent, and so that's really promising. I do believe that it could have that viral effect where people are telling each other about it. That's really the end goal, right? So what about from the lawyer side? Like, how do you guys solve problems for the lawyers?
Well, we really haven't had any problems with lawyers. We've been to the big truck and accident car show in Chicago last week.
Mm-hmm.
And typically in these conferences, a booth is set up by a vendor. We are a vendor. Legal Buddy is a vendor at this conference. And the attorneys will walk by. They'll take a look. What are they selling me? I'm not interested. Well, no one said no to us. All these attorneys walking by our booth last week were interested. What is it? How can it help me? This is so weird to me. It's are you a website? Are you an SEO? Well, no, we're not. You're going to get leads directly from the scene. You're not going to get it from a website. You're not going to get it from third party. That lead doesn't come directly from us at the scene of the accident. And all these, which is crazy. All the lawyers had a really hard time wrapping their head around the fact that, wait, so these users of yours that download the app are going to call me right from the scene where the officer is standing?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that creates a bond between the user and the attorney. So the conversion rate typically will be very, very high. Speaking from experience, if I pick up my phone at 2:00 in the morning from a driver who's being arrested, the next day, I guarantee you they're going to call me and come see me and hire me because they're loyal. I answered your call. The same thing happens with the attorney. The problem you said is a lot of lawyers don't pick up their phones at 2:00 in the morning. Well, with our app, not only do we have the attorneys who are going to be on the app who are super excited, we also have a 24-hour live answering service that vets the leads and gets them to us to get to the attorneys within 12 hours or 24 hours.
24 hours, yeah.
It's an immediate response.
Yeah.
So the lawyer problem is they're too excited. There's too many of them lining up to be on the app, which is great.
Yeah. And we talked about this today, the exclusivity aspect of it. When we have these different regions set up and attorneys can lock out their competition, okay? And we talked about this like in Tucson, Arizona. Everywhere you turn around, there's a billboard, an attorney advertising for car accidents.
Same here.
Okay. Right. Same here in LA, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, imagine if you were the only billboard in Tucson or the only billboard in Los Angeles and no one else could put a billboard up.
It's crazy.
It's exactly what we're doing with our app. The attorney can lock out all of his competition. He can have that exclusive region for himself. And as we continue to build user engagement, it's like having his own list of potential clients at his fingertips. Okay. And all the other things that we're doing with the app, like we talked about today, the engagement aspect. Once the user, downloads the app, registers, now we can drip to them information. We can let them know that, for example, this attorney just came on board in your area. Okay. We're able to do so many very specific things that are so impactful to the user experience. And that's what gets exciting. For me, learning all this, I obviously was in marketing and running a practice as a chiropractor for many years, but the technology and what it can do now is absolutely mind-blowing. We talked about connected TV, being able to reach out and geofence and actually focus attention on, say, a campus, because we have a really cool ambassador program where we're bringing college students on to go out and be what we call the boots on the ground. Okay. And when you can have a friend or a college student tell a friend about our app, go download it, that pays huge dividends, that trust factor. And so, we're building that program right now. So we're very excited about, the things that are happening, and we're going to go with this.
So if somebody's a college student, how can they potentially join that program? What if they want to be an ambassador? Should they go to your website? Is there an email? How do we?
Yeah. You know what they do? They go to legalbuddyapp.com. We have a specific web page devoted to the ambassador program. And then all they do is they go to that website, they go to the page, they click on a button, and it goes straight to a survey. They complete the survey, and then I receive those, and then I look them over. There's some criteria, that we require. Number one, are they engaged on campus? Are they, using social media? We ask them, why do you want to be a Legal Buddy intern? I think we get a lot of responses based upon they love our logo because our mascot is a golden retriever. And who doesn't love a golden retriever?
Ready.
And so, we're hoping in the next year or so to have an actual golden retriever puppy. And his name will be Buddy. We're still debating on if it's going to be male or female, but I think it's better to have a male. So, Buddy's going to travel with me. I'm the one that picked the shortest straw. And so I'll raise Buddy, and I'll take him with us wherever we go.
That's awesome. That will definitely attract a lot of girls too.
Yeah, and the girls will bring the boys.
There you go.
Okay, and so the
nightclub effect.
Exactly right. The nightclub effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love the strategy and the thinking. And it's really cool for you guys to actually engage college students, because when you're a college student, it's another thing where there's like a big barrier between you and professional work. So when you actually get to interact, especially with, C-level executives and founders, that's a really valuable experience for them.
It's also a great resume builder for the ambassadors, who want to get into marketing and in sales. They're working with a huge or a very good sized corporation, growing, starting it up. And I think it's a wonderful add to the resume.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the exciting part about this whole business that we've started. It's obviously the app provides, a necessary, service. It's fun, okay, to get involved. You wake up every day. I mean, I'm not a spring chicken, okay? So, being able to, to get excited about doing this and knowing the possibilities and knowing that, we're going to be helping a lot of people, and that there's really a mission behind this whole business, okay, which is to educate, to help people interact with each other better. And, God knows we need that today. And I think, that's why our interns really buy into what we're doing, because they're the boots on the ground. They're the ones that are going out to other students. They're the ones that are selling Legal Buddy to their fellow students and their friends. And that's going to carry huge dividends, okay, as they get older. And it's really going to kind of redefine, okay, legal help. Like you were talking about a little while ago. We have taken the legal profession and flipped it upside down. This is a very disruptive thing that we're doing. And they're trying to wrap their head around it. And some get it. And when we add in that exclusivity aspect, if you're not part of Legal Buddy, then you're out. Okay. And you're missing out.
Yep.
And that's a huge thing. I mean, we talked about it today. An attorney there's 2 attorneys in the state of Missouri that were looking at DUI, and car accident, excuse me. And one jumped on it before the other did. Now, yes, we may lose that other attorney. However, he all of a sudden now, well, do you still have DWI available in my area?
There you go.
Okay. So it's just a matter of time before the attorneys start going, we got to get in here.
Yeah, and you've already got attorneys who are on the platform, 65 of them, or firms at least, and then they're paying thousands of dollars to be enrolled in this. So the business model has been validated, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The sales are coming in. It's just a matter of getting the word out. Okay. And we have those two different verticals, right? We have the downloads and we have the revenue generation. So
and
that's what we're working, obviously we're working with you. And it's really kind of getting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
Okay.
The flywheel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the pieces of the flywheel do need to be assembled. I actually had that conversation with my team today. Good copy doesn't make a campaign crush it. Good tracking doesn't make a campaign crush it. Good creative can't on its own make a campaign crush it. Everything has to work together.
Yeah.
And it's the Gestalt theory. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but in business, it's the same way. You get all the product, the marketing, the sales all aligned, and then things start really moving. You get a lot of momentum, and it kind of self-perpetuates. And so it's really, really exciting to watch that happen. And Chris, I know you came from being a chiropractor. You don't have any legal background, right?
No legal. No. I did do a lot of personal injury, soft tissue treatment. So I did. So I kind of had an idea, my own perspective, okay, on things, but more from a client standpoint.
So what's it like being a tech founder now? I mean, and Lenny, you were a lawyer before. What's it like being a tech founder? How are you guys finding that?
Well, I'm learning something new every day. I don't claim to be a high tech person, but working with Chris and with Bill, the other founder, I'm learning something every day about tech. And I can't really speak to all the high tech wording and the caveats in it, but working with Chris and Bill has been an eye opener for me.
For me, it's frightening. Okay, it's very scary. A lot of different moving parts. Having to deal with an app team in India, another team in Australia, a gentleman in London, you guys out here in LA. Before, running my own practice, it was basically, do as I say. Okay. But here now we have to collaborate. We have to learn how to communicate, in a way that we don't, irritate others.
Irritate each other.
And what's great about our friendship, aside from the business, is that we all deeply care about one another. Bill's not is back in St. Louis right now, but all of us, we could definitely yell at one another a lot. But at the end of the day, we make up and shake hands and we remain good friends. And I think that says a lot because as everything kind of trickles down from the top.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I learned a valuable lesson. From the get-go. I was having to deal with our team in India and the app designers and. Things were not going as we had anticipated them to go, and there were some glitches, and so I put on my COO hat and kind of lowered the boom on them, and learned a valuable lesson is that I need to focus on finding solutions, okay, and really focus on what are we doing right now, and how can we get this done, and let's work together as a team. And I think that's been the biggest hurdle for myself because as a private practitioner, it's like whatever I say goes.
Yeah,
and you can't do that in this type of environment.
Yeah, the cultural differences definitely matter too. But when you've got people in India, they operate like robots. They follow orders directly. And so if you're not explicit or if you don't explain the nuance, then you're gonna get an unintended. But it's you saying it. It could be your own demon coming back, which is. I worked with Indian developers at first, and I learned that lesson too. I got super specific on everything because I'm like, I'm not leaving any gray area here for you.
Well, that's one thing. Lenny and I talk about this a lot. The value of our third partner, Bill Potoff. He's been one to cool the jets for us when it comes to dealing with these other teams that we rely on so much.
Yeah,
because if we don't have them, we don't have this app functioning, and we got to have this thing on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So Bill has been very helpful with us.
It's been great.
Yeah, those hurdles, like when we sent out that email blast and servers crashed, those are good problems to have, but at the same time, it needs to be stable.
Yeah.
And those are some of the challenges of running a tech company. Managing product, managing the teams. You got, all these multicultural teams that you're working with and they're contractors. They don't, you're not their only boss, if you will.
Yeah.
It really changes the dynamic. But one thing I admire about lawyers is lawyers are generally like bulldogs. They're generally very forward, very direct, badass, call things on the nose as they are. And I think even if that rubs some people the wrong way, that's a skill we could all do better with a little more of, in my opinion. I think that takes you a really long way in business, negotiations and management.
And then I'm glad you brought that up because those are qualities I've also learned to kind of hold back when dealing with our Indian developer. Because I was not the nicest of person to him initially because I'm very organized, matter of fact. If you say it's going to be done this day, it's got to be done this day. If you say it's going to work then, it's got to work then. And so I wasn't very forgiving or maybe understanding initially. And so Bill and Chris both taught me, hey, pull back the reins, soften the tone. Let's let the IT guys do their thing and just kind of cool it. So I've learned how to control myself better through our friendship or partnership.
All developers are like that. They take it very personally if you're hard on them.
Yeah.
But it's different. They're not business people like us where it's like, you said it was going to be delivered today. It's not. Yeah. So go get it done right now. Go get it done yesterday. That's how I think about it too. But yeah, they respond very differently to that. And so, looking forward, I guess I would like to know, from a product perspective, I'd like to hear a little bit more about the features that you guys are envisioning. So you said the AI component. Is there going to be a chat bot in the app where people can get, contextualize people?
Yeah. So very similar to what we have on our websites now. We have the chat bot. Where you can ask, questions and get answers and really get more direction on, what I should do next.
Yeah.
We want to make it a lot more interactive. We want to have additional services that are available to the user. Other businesses that may see our vision and want to come on board as a partner, really just offering more to our user. I think that's really where we're going with this.
What about from a content perspective? Have you guys thought about putting videos and stuff in there to make them more well-informed and kind of deepen the relationship with the users?
Yes. So what we've started to do, especially with our attorney profile. So every attorney that buys the exclusivity for that particular region and that legal specialty has an attorney profile. section. So when you tap on connect to an attorney, obviously you'll see the basic information. What's great about our app is that they get that accessibility right away. They can text them, they can call them, they can email them, but then we also have the attorney profile that they can click on, and that's where we have interactive videos, we have educational videos, we have introductory videos. So the attorneys are saying, "Hey, this is who we are. Thanks for coming on board. Thanks for
super valuable."
Yeah. So, well, I think down the road we may start to investigate ways that we can educate our users better. Educational videos, things like that would be a great idea.
And that's the big gap for me personally. For somebody who felt the gap with legal services, I'm like, where do I even begin? Like, is this something that should be brought to a lawyer, or is this like going to be a stupid case in their opinion, or is this going to be a waste of my time? There's just so many questions that I had before getting into it that I just think a lot of people, like, we're just not well informed there. I mean, I didn't take a class in high school or college that said like how to utilize legal services.
Yeah. One of our features that we offer the attorneys when they come on board is if they don't have any type of introductory videos, we're happy to do that for them. One of our first attorneys, Max Groswall, who's a bankruptcy attorney, he created his own video. And, obviously bankruptcy is a very sensitive issue, with many people. But his video, his introductory video about who he is and why he does what he does, really drops, that apprehension that someone may have in having to hire an attorney. It makes him more, real life, hey, this guy is in my corner. That's the whole aspect of what we're doing here is we're creating relationships. And if we can do that in a very effective way, I think we're going to be very, very successful, and we're going to stand apart from anything else out there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So let me ask you this: when we're looking at this from a macro perspective, is crime been going up or been going down in general?
Well, it depends on the region. Depends where you are in the United States. If it's Los Angeles, we're not from here, so I don't know.
Sure, it feels like it's going up.
It sure does. Well, in St. Louis, crime is always pretty steady.
It's a cultural mainstay.
Right. So, I mean, there's going to be plenty of users, unfortunately, that just, happen to get in trouble. And so besides crime, car accidents are on the up and up. The more cars there are, the more drivers there are, the more likelihood there'll be accidents. Yeah. Just in the nature of the beast. So, again, depends on the category, depends on the region you are in the United States, but in general, or generally speaking, accidents are on the up. Crime is probably on the up, if not steady.
In cities.
Yeah.
In cities. I would say in cities for sure.
People do stupid things. I mean, it's just human nature, right?
Yeah, well, alcohol is legal, so.
Right, okay, I think in some of our market research, there were some universities that we looked at. I couldn't believe the statistics, on
tell me
underage drinking, okay? Or not underage drinking, but, students that are drinking, in college, okay? Astronomical how many DWI, DUIs were occurring in that particular university setting. I won't name any names, but I mean, we know where it's at. So like I said,
fake IDs, minors in possession.
We did all that.
We did.
I mean, I did. My friends, I know my brother got a DUI. One of my friends, close roommates got a DUI.
Yeah.
It's pretty common.
That's pretty common. In Missouri, where we come from, the main question is, where'd you get your first DWI? After
breaking the ice.
After where you went to high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, hey, where'd you go to high school? Yeah. Where'd you get your first DWI?
Yeah.
It's 56,000 DWIs are written in Missouri every year. 56,000.
Yeah.
That's so many.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You guys are in good business.
Very good business. And, like I said, people are going to do stupid things. When I went to college in Texas. The drinking age was 19.
Oh, shit.
So I literally rolled in as my freshman. I remember my father asking me a question. He would call me every month. He said, "Son, how much money do you need, to spend, to go get food and, have fun?" And I'd say, "I just need $20, Dad." He got $20. Is it? I said, "Yeah, we have an on-campus pub, and Thursdays are dime beers, Fridays are nickel beers, and then on Saturday there's free beer for like the first 2 hours." Okay.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. It was a Catholic university, I had a poster on my wall that said, it was a poster on my dorm wall that had a picture of a stein of beer. and it said, "Man cannot live on bread alone." And so, yes, but that was some time ago.
Quote by Jesus, right?
That's right. That's exactly
You ain't water to wine. He knows these things.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny.
So what kind of, just maybe if you could rattle off what kind of legal services people can get help with on Legal Buddy? Can they do like corporate and other type of legal services, or is it more like injury, accidents?
Well, I can rattle off a few. I mean, as far as like the main 4 categories that will pop up on the initial screen will be car accidents, DWIs or DUIs, traffic violations, and drug or gun possessions. These typically happen, criminally speaking, within a car or an accident. Other verticals or categories we have include family law, like divorce law, custody,
Immigration.
We've got patent law. We have, oh gosh, there's so many.
Bankruptcy.
Dog bites. The list goes on and on. I mean, I'm drawing a blank because there's so many.
Right. Yeah. But slip and falls, fraternity.
57 total categories.
Yeah. Yeah. Rideshare, believe it or not.
Rideshare.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Bad faith insurance, which is a big one in Florida with the roofing companies.
What is that?
So when people pay for their insurance premiums and then an incident happens, like a flood, a tornado, a hurricane, the roof gets destroyed, well, you file a claim to get your roof fixed. Or a rainstorm happens and you file a claim to get your roof fixed. Well, the insurance company denies your claim because it's an act of God. Or they pay less than the value of the roof. Well, that's bad faith insurance. And there's law firms like the Cohen Group, which is really well known in Florida, one of our clients, that handles a lot of property and casualty, or it's property and casualty insurance, and bad faith insurance.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of industries where bad faith business is done, but that's a particularly bad one because if somebody's house floods, I mean, my best friend up in Palisades, their house, so they're Russian and they're just like straight bulldogs too, and they fought the fire. They actually went up there and with hoses, and they invited the firemen in and said, "You can have coffee and water here because is a freaking ghost town. Is complete. All the houses are burned down, and them and the firefighters fought off the fire. But of course, there's still a bunch of fire damage to the house. And when they got the insurance claim, Anton, my friend, told me he got about 30% of what it cost. I'm like, 30%, which is clearly bad faith insurance or bad faith. Is that what
bad faith insurance?
Bad faith insurance. Yeah. So, especially here in California with the fires, like the majority of people in that area did not get coverage because State Farm or one of these companies pulled out, and then they didn't have insurance. And so then the state had to put a blanket insurance plan. And of course it didn't give them much. So yeah, there's a lot there. And I think those kind of cases are, as people become more well-informed and realize like you have rights in these circumstances, like you should be taking action on this, right? Like you know, car accident or whatever else.
Well, your Legal Buddy has the do's and don'ts right there for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, I mean, I think a lot of times I've probably had cases and I didn't even realize it.
Yeah. That's
yeah. And again, you know, Legal Buddy app, you know, it's a resource, you know, a valuable resource. It's free.
It's a free thing.
And you're getting educated. You know, and so many, you know, people just don't know what to do.
Exactly. That was what I was trying to say earlier. I just don't know what to do. It's like, they don't teach you to do taxes, or they don't really teach you like personal finance in high school. They don't teach you any law. Like I was not taught any. Maybe I just didn't retain it. But I mean, I don't recall ever thinking of like, how do I protect myself in a legal circumstance, or, you know, police abusing me or something, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think the younger generations have just been, a lot of us, like I'm a millennial, but I think for the Gen Zs too, just speaking for them for a moment, like we feel very shortchanged from, you know, being from an informed perspective. Like we just, you know, we don't feel like we were given good knowledge around personal finance, communication, like these kind of fundamental skills that really help you thrive in society, legal matters. And I think that's really cool that you guys are opening that door, especially because when the app is free, that's a whole different thing, right? Like people, even if you never have a case, at least you can know what to do. You have a quick playbook, like, hey, yay, nay, like I'm going to, you know, cover my own ass.
Yeah. Yeah. We're creating an entire generation of informed citizens that can teach their kids and their grandkids. You know, we're at the forefront of this informational age.
Yeah, especially in the legal field.
Yeah.
And the users will never have to pay anything or to use the app at least. The resources are all free. It's the lawyers who pay to be on there. So it's a service to the end user too. It's just another benefit. It's not like you got to pay a subscription to get access to.
Not yet. Now we may investigate that down the road here, where we add tremendous more value.
I think it's legitimate.
It's legitimate. It's something to look into.
I'd be willing to pay for it if it was like keeping me out of trouble or, getting me out of trouble. That's something I would definitely pay for, or at least making me more well-informed in circumstances. I mean, especially in business, there's so many interactions where like, hey, do I need to like take some action here,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, why don't you guys talk to me a little bit more about the, how lawyers are getting cases today and how you see them getting them tomorrow with Legal Buddy? Like, what are they doing that's so broken and inefficient today with, the case acquisition?
Well, I'll tell you a trend that we're seeing in the legal profession right now, and they kind of touched on it at the Big Auto Truck Summit. Wall Street is starting to invest. They're starting to buy law firms. They're starting to throw those monies that way. So there's a huge transition of firms being bought out. The legal profession, I hate to say, is starting to become a commodity. Okay. And that's really kind of redefining, how people access legal help. And so, we're bringing that personal touch back. That's important. So many law firms, and I think you can address this too, is the big corporate giants, okay? And they're losing sense of what their true purpose is, which is to help people. Mm-hmm. And I think, that trend is definitely, we're seeing that a lot. At least I saw that at the conference.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've seen that trend going on for a while now, but I think to more into that question, really, how are lawyers getting their cases? How is Legal Buddy different? I would tell you this, a lot of small firms, solo practitioners, under 10 member law firms used to do websites and SEO, search engine optimization programs. That stuff is going by the wayside quickly. A lot of these smaller firms were getting their business from word of mouth, referrals from prior clients, referrals from new clients who asked their old clients. Well, what's happening, we see this in the younger generations, they're embarrassed to ask. They got in trouble. They're embarrassed to ask their friend. They're embarrassed to ask they're afraid to ask their parent. Where do they go? How do the lawyers connect to these users, these people who are facing these legal situations? And that's the bridge that we're crossing. That's the bridge we're really banding together.
Yeah.
Avoid the embarrassment of having to ask your friend, your best friend, hey, I just got charged with a DWI. Who do I call?
Yeah.
Well, now you can just go on an app and it'll tell you exactly who to call and exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So that's how we bridge that gap.
And the point I was making too with these, the law firms are consolidating, corporate America is stepping in to buy these law firms. And, again, they're going after these lead gen. You're seeing these companies pop up all over the place, trying to get attorneys to buy and pay a lot of money, okay, for these leads. We're much better than that. Okay. And like Lenny talked about, these small to mid-sized firms, okay, they see what we're doing as a significant advantage that they can have. And you add in that exclusivity and you add in all the other things that we can do within the app, the value add that they see is much greater. And, even with artificial intelligence, okay, it kind of takes that human element out, okay, but, we all crave, okay, the interaction. Okay, and I think we're kind of bringing that back.
Yeah, I think the in-person component is becoming more and more popular as AI and tech becomes so top-heavy, right? Like these big corporations, they're rolling up these companies and creating these super law firms and just losing that touch. I think it's really important to have that human component. That's why I was saying you should do videos because then they can actually see the face of the people that they're going to be talking to and meeting with. And I just think that goes a long way. I think that's becoming more valuable as AI accelerates. I think human interaction is relatively accelerating in importance.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. So, how can let's support your business? How can the audience listening get the app? how can we support you? You guys want us to follow an Instagram page? You want people to download the app? What's the most valuable thing that we can offer you?
Well, obviously, we're on all social media platforms. I think, you go to our website. If you're a consumer, go to our website, legalbuddyapp.com. You can scroll down and find all of our social media connections or links. We also have a sales website that attorneys can go to, legalbuddysales.com. Okay. And going to that, we have an interactive app map where attorneys can actually click on the region where they practice. They can see what legal verticals are available. We have a lot of great data on that interactive app, letting them know which counties within the state that they would have exclusivity to. They can click on the different legal verticals. Like, for example, personal injury is kind of an umbrella, vertical, but there's a lot of things that fall under personal injury. They can tap on all the different verticals that they're interested in and be connected to our director of sales or their co-founder, Bill. And we'll have one of our salespeople reach out to them, and they can talk about coming on board as an advertiser.
And then ultimately, download the app.
Yeah.
Go to the Apple Store. Go to the Android market.
Everybody needs the app.
We'd love for everyone to download the app, spread the word. Go on your social medias, like and follow us, and spread and share Legal Buddy anywhere and everywhere you can. It'll help us, but more importantly, it's going to help the public.
Yeah, I'm going to help the people actually download it.
Yes.
And just, I know we're kind of closing out here, but one thing I wanted to double click into a little bit is the fact that these lawyers can take over a whole territory and say, I get all the cases from here. That's a crazy value. So how are you guys doing that? Is it that you just mapped out the whole U.S. and you just said this one is for sale and that one's for sale and so on?
Yeah. So when we were putting together our plan, our marketing plan, we took each state and broke it into different regions. So on average, each state will have about 4 regions. Obviously, the bigger states like California, we're going to have a few more, Texas, Florida, but typically most states are broken into 4 regions.
How much does LA cost?
That's a great question.
A lot.
Everything's negotiable. But yeah, you're going to have to pull out your checkbook on that one.
Yeah, Los Angeles has such a massive population. There's so many users.
So big.
And there's so many legal searches in California that, unfortunately for the attorneys, or maybe fortunately, really, it does cost a little bit more to be on our app on Legal Buddy for the attorneys. But the value of the leads they get, the number of sheer volumes of leads is astronomical.
Yeah, because they get all of them. Like, they're not paying on a per lead basis.
Correct. That's exactly right.
And if you think about it, like people searching Google, like you were saying earlier, like, or maybe it was Bill, but Google summarizes the answer, and then you don't even look at the pages. You don't even look at the websites of the lawyers anymore. And same with ChatGPT. You ask it, and it says, okay, here's like 5 firms.
Yeah.
So they're really losing that traffic, and people have talked about Google being on the down because everyone's just asking ChatGPT for that information.
And if you ask ChatGPT, like you just said, ChatGPT will give you general information and give you 10 or 20 law firms in the area, and some of them don't even specialize. Say you're searching for a DWI lawyer in Los Angeles, you might get 30 websites, and 10 of them probably only handle personal injury. So that's
it's just like a waste of time. It's like, why would I? I was actually searching for a corporate lawyer for a matter, or it was an employment lawyer, and ChatGPT gave me 5 options, and only one of them actually practiced that kind of law in the region.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? So ChatGPT really doesn't like have it yet.
And we do have employment law, by the way, as one of our categories.
You're
welcome.
The Legal Buddy next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really incredible value that you guys are offering those guys, and it's gonna increase in cost, I would presume, because as it fills up, those categories are going to get more and more demand. But the thing is instead of people having to go and Google something and look, they literally just tap like contact the lawyer right now, and so it's like one click instead of like searching. Like you have a plumbing leak, you don't want to be fumbling with the search and calling all these people. You want to like say, this is the person I'm going to call.
Yeah.
When you have a car accident, you don't want to be jumbling through, okay, I'm interviewing 5 lawyers right now. Like, it's just, you don't want to do that, right?
No, you don't have the time. Okay. You want it now.
Space.
That's kind of our, I learned that a long time ago being a chiropractor is, we used to do a radio show, and we would make up these fun ads, in between breaks. And one was the playoff of chiropractic in a bottle, right? Okay. We had a whole commercial about it. It was the funniest damn thing, but it people want what they want right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's what Legal Buddy app does. It serves a purpose, and it gets them exactly where they need to be right now. And that's who we are as a society. We want instant.
It's a now culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I actually want to dig a little bit deeper on one concept here. Like, I would like to know from your guys' perspective, being kind of like, not the overlords, but guys overlooking this industry, like, what do you think is the biggest misconception among people who need to contact a lawyer? Like, people who maybe don't think they have a case, or maybe don't think it's appropriate. Like, what do you think is the biggest misconception there that people need to know?
It's a really, really good question, by the way. From experience, I see one of the biggest misconceptions the public would have about attorneys is that they're too expensive, and do they really need them? Or can't I just go in and argue my own case, right? Well, you don't know procedure. You don't know the judge. You don't know how the court clerks. You don't know how the process works. So a misconception is you think you may not need a lawyer, or you think it may cost too much. But at the end of the day, the lawyer is going to be able to navigate, and the value of what you pay that attorney will pay you tenfold.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the issue that I had when I was younger. Was I'm like, well, do I need them, and can I afford this? And it just kept me from ever looking down that road. I wouldn't even talk to them because I didn't want to string them along or whatever. But having had some situations myself in college, they save you once, and you're like, oh my God, well, why was I not doing this before, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting to me, because I do think there's a lot of kind of like medical field or some of these more sensitive areas where people just like don't know how to look at it. They don't know how to approach it. There's a lot of misconception, and societally, like the communication we get around it is not super healthy, in my opinion. Like, most of what they know about lawyers is they just see ads, that they don't really know much about what actually happens when you contact a lawyer. Most of them are super cool and understanding, and they make you feel very like at ease. It's like, don't worry, it's all under control. I got this.
Yeah.
Like that, when you hear that and you're in a situation and your nerves are like, popped out, that's a very, very calming thing. And so I just think like more people need to know that. It's like I said before, it gives you confidence. It puts you at ease, because it's like, okay, not only do I not have to worry about this, but I have somebody who's more qualified to worry about it and taking care of it for me.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, boys, well, I appreciate you guys joining me on the show. It's been a great conversation. I don't know if there's any final thoughts you want to leave with the audience. I know we directed them. Go to the App Store, search Legal Buddy, download the app. Go to the website, Legal Buddy Sales, if you want to buy space. If you want to download the app, legalbuddyapp.com. So
yeah, just know that our motto, our tagline is always on your side. That kind of really defines who we are. Is that we're here to help you in those instances where you get in trouble, and that you're going to get in trouble. Okay, things are going to happen. As they say, shit's going to happen. Okay, well, having our app on your phone in your back pocket. Okay, hopefully you'll never ever have to use our app. But like Lenny said, it's good to have it when you do need us.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a little insurance plan, a little free insurance plan.
Yeah.
Just give us a chance. That's all we ask.
Yep.
All right. Well, boys, thank you for coming on the show. It was great talking.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.